Mr. Chair, Commissioners, what I hope to today is to just give you an overview of some of the activities, and there's certainly a number of activities that are happening here on the broader TCAAP property. So what I hope to do today through the presentation is to just kind of walk through some of those individual components and generally where those things lie in terms of a status. But also I want to just point out and clarify what are maybe some different terminology related to particular sites or particular parcels, so that we have a common understanding or a common language that we're speaking from when we talk about these projects and these parcels. This was a request at the last JDA meeting by Commissioner Grant as well as others to provide this update, so we wanted to make sure that we hopefully provide all those questions that you posed at the last meeting. So I won't belabor the piece of it, which is to say that, you know, certainly the bulk of the activities related to this broader TCAAP project lie within the redevelopment project and Rice Creek Commons, or that's their marketing term. But the image before you, in front of you, in the 17 by 11 is just a broader look at all of the different parts and pieces of the TCAAP project. I would just note that either these are activities that are the Ramsey County parcels that Ramsey County owns or will own or have a large stake within moving forward. And I'll talk through those individual pieces through my presentation here. And I just went backwards. So first is to just again say the majority, the bulk of the activities are related to the 427, or what we call the redevelopment site, and the individual core pieces, the Thumb and California, as we affectionately call them sometimes. The other piece that I would add is the 50-acre natural resources corridor. So when we talk about those three pieces, you know that they are related solely to the activities on the 427. But there are a lot of activities that are kind of at that confluence of multiple things, whether they're the redevelopment site or other parcels. So I want to touch on the County Road H interchange. This does provide, as we've stated previously, a new off-ramp, northbound off-ramp to County Road H, providing direct access into the redevelopment site. But also as part of that project, or kind of preceding that project, there was the remainder of Rice Creek. And so you'll note that the location of that roundabout sat kind of right on the creek, and we've been able to remeander the creek to its original natural flow and location. But in the process, we've provided some both interim and future or permanent or future improvements. So the first of that is the actual remeander of the creek, but the second is this image that you see here on your screen, which is related to a new pedestrian bridge that has been dropped into place and just has been done in the last couple weeks. This pedestrian bridge provides access to bikers and peds across Rice Creek, just north of County Road H, and that will be open to the broader public in early July. This bridge and the corresponding temporary trail improvements closes the loop that has been a piece as they've gone through the County Road H interchange construction, but also connects to the trail that crosses County Road H and 35. Moving forward to the Primer Tracer parcel. So this is the parcel that's located in the northeast part of the TCAAP property. The county currently has an offer to purchase on this property, and this parcel, Primer Tracer, has been identified for two particular uses. The first is a potential Minnesota Department of Public Safety operations facility. That would largely happen on about 20 acres, so the western portion of Primer Tracer. And then what is talked more about, which is the 8 to 12 megawatt solar array on approximately 40 acres on the eastern side of the property. For the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, Operations Center was not included in the final 2017 bonding bill. And so I think the question remains as to what the future holds. This is, I think, the second or third time this has gone forth in a bonding bill. So, next year might choose to be fruitful, but we're not quite sure. So I think the question is, it's uncertain in that location. As to the solar array, those conversations with Excel continue and are ongoing. The county does, like I said, does have an offer to purchase that property, and it's contingent on many activities and milestones that both Excel and Ramsey County can achieve to open a solar array. It is a complex project, and one that, with the change in administration, has provided some additional uncertainty because of its energy and solar aspects. And so I think both parties, and specifically maybe more Excel, are just kind of working through what this all means moving forward, both for ratepayers, but also tax credits, and a myriad of other issues, notwithstanding what needs to be done on that property to make it solar ready. The property is, the U.S. government had completed the environmental remediation on the site to industrial standards, but there is additional remediation that needs to happen on that site to make it ready, and that's basically through the demolition of the site buildings, and that is because there's known asbestos, lead paint, and then the creosote timbers that were on the site present, some requirements related to remediation. Moving forward, and I want to preface this next part by saying that Scott Yonke, who's our Parks Development Director, or our Parks Planning and Development Director, not Parks Director, provided me with a number of notes here, and so I want to make sure that I do state those. He did state that he would be willing to come back at a later date and provide any additional details related to these individual pieces if that was valuable. So there is the existing trail corridor. This is the area that is on the screen, which is a slightly darker green. This is the existing approximately 113 acre, it states on your thing here that says 109, but it is approximately 100 plus acre parcel that is existing and part of the Rice Creek North Regional Trail. There is continuing to work on an additional 108 acres. This is the area that on your map you'll notice is parcel C, B, A, and D. I went in that order to go from north to south. And that is really makes up kind of the expansion of this regional trail corridor. Rice Creek North Regional Trail, there is an update to the master plan in beginning to be processed. And our Parks Department is leading that effort. The beginnings of that study, I think we've been told, will start later this summer. This is the last update to this plan was done in 2013, and this was really prior to most of the activities related to the redevelopment site. So the timing is such as that they want to both look at holistically what is needed in terms of additional development and recreational opportunities on that site, but also how to better interface with the Rice Creek Commons redevelopment site. I think one of the things that's been talked about is the building 189, which is located really on the actual trail corridor, the existing trail corridor, but a lot of its improvements happen within these other parcels, C and B specifically. One other thing I would like to mention, and Scott wanted to make sure that I mentioned it today, which was to say that both separately but also concurrently, Ramsey County Parks is undertaking an update to their system plan. And so the community engagement opportunities that will exist through the Rice Creek North Regional Master Plan process will also influence and be involved with the system plan that is beginning to be undertaken later this summer as well. So there'll be lots of conversations related to the activities here on the site, but more broadly, Ramsey County. Finally, I just want to mention the actual site, these particular sites themselves, because these have been some of our more recent activities that have gone on of late. And that is related to some of the site cleanup and remediation that has happened on parcels B, A, and D. Bolander has successfully completed those activities and now is moving into the next phase, which is kind of project closeout. There were no cleanup activities related to parcel C, as this is a property that will continue to be owned by the U.S. government and that Ramsey County will hold an easement on for access to. The county expects final closing of those 3 parcels, A, B, and D, in the coming months. And then lastly, because I'm restricted by space on the screen here, just want to show the parcel D, which is the longer piece, which is a 150-foot regional trail corridor. And it's envisioned, and it's been envisioned through the preliminary design report, that there would be activities related to grading that would coincide with the redevelopment on the 427. So that's all I have for you today. I'm happy to stand and answer any questions I might be able to answer.
Thank you, Director Olson. Commissioners, any questions? Yeah, Commissioner Huffman.
Mr. Chair. Josh, the 2 primary tracer chunks of land, the 20 acre, the 40 acre, you talked about the 20 acre certainly being up in the air with no bonding money for that potential building. You talked about the 40 acres in terms of the markets have changed and whatnot. So both of those areas seem like they could, the ultimate use is a little bit up in the air. Have we thought, or what's our process going to be if both of those things don't happen? Do we still want that land? What's our process to get to be able to answer a question like that?
Well, I would first state that from a land use controls perspective, these are parcels that are really restricted to public uses. So certainly the 2 uses that were identified currently, the operations center and the solar, fit into that criteria. And that is really predicated on really the sale of the property or the purchase of the property from the federal government, but also to the city's land use plan as well. I think at this point, there's some uncertainty related to the operations center in terms of is it in or out? Is it part of a capital improvement plan for that department of the state? I think there's enough energy, no pun intended, to continue to explore the solar installation. And I think there's, the conversations we've had with Excel continue to be positive. I would just say that there was a different sense of urgency about a year ago when there was the likelihood that the tax credits might expire or expire sooner than we had anticipated. And that, we were in a presidential election. So I think there was a few things going for us or going against us in both ways. So I think the conversations continue. In terms of other uses, I don't think that we've had that opportunity to think about what might be those other uses.
Any other questions, Commissioner Huffman?
No, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Grant.
Yes, parcel C, so it's not the intent of the county to actually close on parcel C, but rather have an easement through?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Grant, that is correct, and that is, do you want to touch on this one? Oh, it's not part of the surplus, and there's, yeah.
Okay. And then would you touch on the building of a road through the 47 acres, which is also referred to as the thumb parcel?
Mr. Chair, and I can provide an Mr. Chair and Commissioner Grant, that is the County Road I-35 Thumb Road construction. It was going to be part of my update on the administrative directors, but we'll jump ahead and we can do it right now. It's related to Ramsey County activities. Let me provide that to you. So construction bids came in from 4 contractors. That was opened on May 25th. A contract with CS McCrossin has been executed, and construction is scheduled to begin later this month on the 26th, so relatively quickly. Traffic will begin to be disrupted with both northbound 35W ramps at County Road I east of the interstate closing around that time. That we have a project website that has greater details, and we can certainly bring in representative from Public Works, Beth Ingham, to talk more about that schedule moving forward. But that's the update I have on County Road I and the Thumb Road.
All right, thank you. The bridge, very nice picture of the crane setting the bridge in. I walked over the bridge last night. Nice concrete base, I might add, on the bridge. The loop itself is not open yet. It appeared to me that there was grading for a bituminous trail. Part of it to continue the trail that was taken out, obviously, to do the meander. But as well on the other side of the bridge, the south side of the bridge, to connect up to the trail. Do you have any update as to when that bituminous trail will be put in?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Grant, I don't have the exact date. The information I received from Beth indicated that in early July, the trail would be open to bikes and pedestrians. Now, I want to preface this by saying, does that mean every single piece and part of the trail? I don't know that for you today. And I can certainly get back to you and check. There is, though, part of the County Road H interchange, there was a provision to add some temporary trails to connect up with the County Road H, the bridge that is crossing the interstate. So that was part of the construction project right now.
All right, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ortega, any questions?
Yeah, let's go back to the conversation with Excel. Help me measure, what does positive mean? I mean, I've been hearing that for a while now. What does that mean to me?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ortega, they haven't told us they're walking away from solar projects at Primer Tracer. I think what has complicated some things for them when they look at their broader network is the prevalence of community solar gardens that have come online throughout the state, including the solar project that has happened north of here in Chisago County. Those projects have come online, certainly provides us great renewable piece to the larger, I think it stresses that this project can happen here. It's a solar project that can happen. The cost of solar has decreased. That's certainly a helpful item for us. But because there is so much solar coming online, in terms of what the county, or not the county, Excel has indicated, looking at what they are required to hit by their mandates for renewables, they're very close to achieving that through all of the solar gardens projects. They are very interested in staying engaged on this property, both Primer Tracer, but also on the 427. And so we've blended our conversations a little bit to continue to keep moving forward and trying to find a scenario where this project pencils out for all parties involved. But I would just add that a lot of our conversations of late have been centered on how we can achieve other goals that were identified within that energy integration resiliency framework. So that had a lot of a laundry list of items, and so we're continuing to tackle this Primer Tracer solar facility. We're continuing to explore the use of the groundwater remediation system to provide a district heating or energy solution, but also all those other things, energy efficiency, upgrades, storage, microgrid options along the entire site.
So if I understand you, just to boil it down simply,
Yeah.
I get those details. Excel has reached the capacity of what they're required to have in alternative energy, it sounds like. Or they reached the goals that are laid out by the state,
They far surpassed the goals, yeah.
huh?
They far exceeded the goals, yeah.
So that, is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, without putting words in their mouth, I mean, in a nutshell, yes, they have.
So that then impedes the process to our project. We don't know that. Well, I'm asking the question,
Commissioner, I don't think that it does. I think, like I said, a year ago, I think there was a different sense of urgency related to getting a solar project into the hopper, so to speak. So to say that they're not interested because they've hit their mandates, I don't think is true. I think they still remain interested. I think what they're trying to figure out is a financial situation where this does not negatively impact ratepayers across their network. So they haven't done all their due diligence related to that, and they continue to do that, and we're working with them on that. Yeah, I think that's.
Commissioner McClellan, any questions?
No,
Director Olson, when you communicate about Excel's goals and objectives, does Excel communicate directly with Ramsey County, City of Arden Hills? I just haven't seen any communication from Excel to the JDA about what their goals, objectives are of this project, if they're interested in it, if it wants to go forward. How does Excel communicate and give you the information that you just gave us?
Mr. Chair, I think it continues to be embedded back into the documentation and the work that was done through the Environmental Integration Resiliency Framework. That has never changed. So, and they were a party to that. I'm trying to find a way to best answer that question because, you know, we have regular meetings with them, with their staff regarding the 427, regarding Primer Tracer. So.
Who's in those meetings, by the way? Excel.
From Excel?
No, just from Ramsey County side.
Greg Mack, who has served as our project manager, kind of on that side of things. I regularly attend those meetings. And then we'll have staff come in and out depending on Ramsey County staff, that is, that comes in based on particular site-specific issues.
Okay. Thank you for that report, Director Olson.